We're talking about a guy that lost over 200 pounds under my guidance. He did the work. I remember when he first came to me, he wanted a family and a girlfriend, and in his mind, right, in his mindset at that time, that was not going to happen. And I said, we can do this. You can do this, right? He lost 200 pounds. He ended up getting married. He's got kids. I still see him today. Like little things like that build my book and my chapters of being able to help people really is why I do what I do.
Where's the party? Let's have some fun.
Well, hello, Sue.
Hi, Shelley.
And welcome to the Fun Grandma Podcast. We're so excited to be back.
Yes, we are.
And we have a Parker Sue update, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah. Oh, Parker Sue. Gosh, she is changing so much. She's walking. She's crawling up on top of everything. So she isn't able to eat dairy.
Okay.
But her auntie was just here and brought her a dairy-free dilly bar. Oh my gosh, you should have seen that child. She had that everywhere. Chocolate on her belly button and ice cream everywhere.
I bet she so enjoyed
loved it. And she does so many animal sounds now, so it's so fun. She's 14 months, and so it's just like, Parker Sue, do an elephant. And she goes, do a fish. So I'm entertained.
Yes.
But my favorite thing is whenever Brad, my husband, sees her, he always goes, I'm your papa. And so when she sees him, she goes, Papa. So
That's perfect.
she's fun.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Well, and then we want to find out, how did Bloomsday go? You guys need to know that you've done over 30, you said.
Yeah.
30 Bloomsdays.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. They should do a write-up about you.
Oh,
You could give like a, I think that deserves some kind of recognition.
Right. No. So it was the 50th year of Bloomsday, so there were 20 that I've missed. So they're not going to be doing any write-up on me. There are people that have done all of them.
Wow.
But this was the first year I actually walked and didn't jog, but I was grateful to make it. But here, you want to know my goal?
Yeah.
Okay. My goal is that someday I will be in the top 10 in the age group. Like there were 40,000 people that did it. So
Right,
for me to be
40,000.
in the top 10 in my age group, I think I'm going to have to be able to do it when I'm 90. So that's my goal, is that I
love
keep
it.
doing it until I'm in the top 10 in my age group, and then I'll be like, done.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the advice from our guest today is going to be a part of that journey, because we learned some great stuff.
Yes.
We had on the podcast Billy Jeffery.
Yeah.
Well, Billy Scharnhorst.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And who is a local business person. He has GNC stores, but he's done all kinds of things.
Yes, he sure has. And he has so many practical tidbits for us that are, and he's so helpful. And I'm just going to tell you that I went to his store. I took him up on what he suggested. He helped me out so much. And you're going to notice a change in my brain.
I think, yes, in both of us, we're going to give an update on all that we've learned. And you're going to learn a lot. You just have to listen.
Yeah.
Every single thing he says is important.
Yeah, it is.
And you can also check him out on his social media, which we understand is Billy Jeffery. So you find that, and he has stores in Pullman, Washington, Moscow, and Lewiston, Idaho. So we get to benefit from all of his wisdom. Please listen in. Thank you so much for being here. We're very excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah, thanks, Billy.
Yeah, this is going to be so good.
I'm
But
excited to be here.
We're starting, of course, where we always like to start, and that's with grandparents.
Please.
So we want to hear about your grandparents. What are some favorite memories?
Well, one sticks out above all the rest.
Okay.
I remember there was a day at the store at GNC, and I was having a really rough day, or I thought I was, and I'll get to that in a second. So I had what I thought was a pretty rough day at the store. And I remember my mom calling me and saying, hey, your grandma, we called her Grams,
Oh, I love it.
wants Skippers. and your dad and I are already out with some friends or something. So can you go pick up Skippers and take it to your grandma? And I was like, sure. So I got off work. I found out what she wanted, called her, found out what she wanted, went and got her order and went over to her house. And so we're sitting there at her little house that my parents, took care of for her. And we're sitting at a kitchen table a lot like this, actually. And we're just sitting there, and she's asking me about my day. And I'm like, well, it was a rough day, and this and that and the other thing. And I'm complaining about this and that and the other thing. And I see a stack of black and white photos literally on the same table. And she had been going through some pictures. And so, naturally, intriguingly, I grabbed the stack and I'm going through them. I'm like, Grams, what is this? Oh, that's me and my brother and sister. About in 6th or 7th grade, I can't remember, but I had to drop out during the Great Depression and I had to help on the farm. Mm-hmm. And she goes into the stories, and then her parents got really sick, and she's up milking cows at 6 a.m. and helping raise her younger brother and sister. We could imagine where that story went. So I'm sitting there thinking, I just pulled up in the car that I wanted, that I own. Yeah. I came from the company that I own, the business that I love, the profession that I love, and I'm having a bad day. Yeah. So I learned a lesson there. One, when people say, Billy, I bet you're really busy. I bet you're really busy with the businesses and doing all this and the shopping center or whatever. And I'll be like, well, I've got a lot on my plate, but I wouldn't call myself busy. Busy is growing up during the Great Depression, having to drop out of school, milk the cows, do the farming work, raise your younger brother and sister while your parents are sick. Jeez. That was a lesson that I learned. And since that day, it has completely changed my entire view on who I am as a person and who I want to be and what my brand is, because everybody says they're busy. But let's just remember the path that has been paved basically from our ancestors and grandparents and parents to allow me to drive the car that I want to do, to have the profession that I want to have. And so that's one story that sticks out right away.
I can see why.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're really good at looking at life and changing yourself and your perspective. I mean, you're good at goals, but you're also good at that. So that's a great story.
I had a mentor. His name was Brad Bramlett. I don't know if you know. I think you know him, right? Yeah.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
I cannot. When people ask me who the top 5 influential people are in my life, obviously you got family and friends, whatever. But and I'm not just saying that because I'm here. Your husband, Brad, pulled my parents aside first when I was in 5th or 6th grade, going to the boys' club, and said, "Hey, this kid's got a lot of potential, but it needs to be channeled." And I remember him saying to my parents, "There's a camp called MBC Camp, and I'm speaking at it, and I want to take Billy with me." And so I loaded up it was a basketball camp, so I was all in, right? Yeah. Not even thinking of the other. I did not know anything about MBC Camp. Yeah. Obviously, I knew Brad from the club, but not thinking anything about the life lessons I would learn while I was there. And not only did I learn a ton about basketball and that kind of stuff, but then the night sessions, there's Brad, there's my guy from the boys club talking and teaching goal setting and how to set a goal and how to visualize it and all of these things that he couldn't really teach me at the club when I just want to grab a Snickers and a Pepsi with Eric and go play basketball, And so, I bought into that hook, line, and sinker. I have set goals since 5th or 6th grade, since that first night. I still remember him being on stage. Well, you see me looking, because I still remember him being on stage and teaching us that, and it just sunk in. Visualizing a goal, setting it, and then setting a plan to achieve that goal. Yeah. And within that journey, Brad and a number of others, including my parents probably mostly, I've always tried to put myself in other people's shoes, whether it's political, fitness goals, life goals, financial goals, it doesn't matter what it is. Everybody's dealing with their own journey, right?
True. Yes.
And for me being in customer service and to understand how to help someone, I have to then understand what position they're in and what shoes they're in at that time for me to go, okay, here's our plan to get you back on track. Right. And so it comes very natural for me at this point. But those two things have been so influential, not only in business, but outside of GNC and outside of the center and all the things that I've had an opportunity to do. And even when I was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, right? So here's me and Ellen producing the segment, and she's asking me what to do. And I'm looking at her like, what? Like, you're Ellen, you know? But think about that. If you're intrigued in someone, you want to do a good job, putting yourself in other people's shoes to understand the whole situation, to find the success in that situation, I think is hugely important. I think it's something that's definitely missing in the world today. And let's not even talk about where goal setting went. I don't know what happened, but I'm bringing it back. You know, this is something that's just not taught at all anymore. So whenever I do my guest speaking, whenever I do podcasts and interviews and things, I always bring that up. And I'm open and easy to get a hold of, to teach the next generation what goal setting is all about and how impactful that can be on your life. If we can remember that, you know, you have over a 40% chance of achieving whatever dream you have by just writing the goal down and putting it out in the world and getting that energy back. And it's amazing that more people are not doing that. And so I think that's been a key factor in my success.
I can tell yes.
That's awesome. Well, you have pursued many different career avenues. Why did you land with GNC? What caused you to go? That's where I'm going.
It's a great question. I was the skinny kid in high school that was, you know, the second smallest kid in the class and just wanted to be different. Funny story, when I saw New Kids on the Block on TV, I wanted to be in a boy band. And I knew I wasn't the best singer and I knew I wasn't the best dancer, but I knew that maybe I could be the muscle guy in a boy band, right? And that's where it all started with Marky Mark and New Kids on the Block. And hook, line, and sinker, again, I got into working out. I remember I bought the Marky Mark workout video, and I did that every night. And he had a 7-day workout plan.
I bet he did.
And my parents bought me. I remember we looked in the newspaper and we found in the classified ads back then, right? And we went and found a little gym set. It was like $100 and had a bench and dumbbells and everything. And my dad, we went over and we picked it up, and I started that night and started changing my physique, which then changed my mindset. And then I put on 30 pounds of muscle between my junior and senior year in high school.
Wow.
And I loved it. I loved everything about it. The eating healthy, the protein shakes, everything that was happening. And so when I got back my senior year and started walking down the hallway, everybody was like, what the hell happened to Billy? You know?
Right. What's going on?
Yeah. And then people started coming up to me. My classmates started coming up and saying, hey, can you help me with my workout program? Can you help me with my nutrition program? And it was great. And I enjoyed doing it. And it all kind of started there. Probably, you know, and most people in my position, most successful people, success is rated on a number of different scales, but it starts with an insecurity. And a lot of people are so insecure. I was that same insecure high school kid that was not comfortable in the body that I was in. And so gaining security and gaining personality and everything through weight training, and then being able to help people achieve their goals, it naturally led to me working at Carter's Health Foods. So Kathy Carter had Carter's Health Foods in town, and there was not a supplement section really in town at all. It was natural herbs and vitamins, and everybody had that. And I told Kathy, I can build your supplement section. I can bring in this clientele. I know what I'm doing. She gave me a chance, and it all started there. And then the opportunity came where GNC had, during that time, GNC had moved up to one of the #1 franchises in the country. Now, I could have opened up Bill's Pills. I could have opened up a GNC. There was a lot of different choices. But when I looked at it, GNC at the time, a lot of people don't know this. GNC actually created the quality control that most supplement companies go by today.
Oh, I didn't know
Third-party testing to make sure that what's in your bottle is what's actually in the pill.
Oh, that's good to know.
That's huge.
Because it was just a free-for-all back in the day. And that really appealed to me, that I could provide my customer reassurance that the vitamin C you're buying says 1,000 milligrams, there's 1,000 milligrams in that pill, right? And so GNC also at the time when I reached out to them was doing what they called the Young Entrepreneurs Program. I had no money. I had not owned my own business before, and I applied for that, and I was one of 10 people that got it. So what they supplied me with is the tools that I needed to be successful in the health and supplement industry. So in 1998, at 20 years old, I opened up my first store. I was the youngest GNC owner in the company's history, and that was with help from my parents and the community and GNC, and it all just came together. And 30 years later, I haven't looked back.
Here you are. So do you have one story? I mean, I know you have hundreds of stories, but do you have like one success story of somebody that you helped by, providing direction for them?
There are thousands. There are thousands, thankfully.
Yeah.
And I think a couple, the weight loss is a big one.
Yeah.
Just like if I'm helping a skinny kid in high school, just like I was, or maybe somebody comes in that's obese, that's trying to lose weight and get their life back. Maybe they've gone through a divorce. Mm-hmm. Maybe they've just been diagnosed with diabetes. There's so many different things. And so I kind of group them all up into one. Mm-hmm. But it's the difference of the person and their personality once they've seen success and what they're able to do.
Yeah.
And people often give me credit for that success, and I turn it right back around and I say, no, you did the work.
Yeah.
I set the plan, you did the work.
Yeah.
And maybe it's somebody that just wants to get out of the chair.
Right.
It doesn't have to be 6-pack abs and big biceps.
Right.
I mean, it's not what it's all about. With social media today, often health gets combined with, the Instagram posts of somebody in the gym and girls in tights and all this stuff. But the reality of it is somebody's 6-pack abs is just getting out of the chair and being able to walk around the block.
Yeah.
Right. Play with their grandkids.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And so what I think I've been able to do with this vast knowledge in all of these years is look at the person's situation, put myself in their shoes, and I know how to get them out of that chair. And let's talk about how many people are scared to even go to the gym, or they don't think the food can taste good even though it's healthy, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's kind of grouped up into a lot of different things, but a lot of weight loss, a lot of weight loss that has completely turned people around. I mean, I'm talking about, there's one guy in particular, I won't name him, but we're talking about a guy that lost over 200 pounds under my guidance. He did the work. I remember when he first came to me, he wanted a family and a girlfriend, and in his mind, right, in his mindset at that time, that was not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I said, we can do this. Mm-hmm. You can do this, right? He lost 200 pounds. He ended up getting married. He's got kids. Mm-hmm. I still see him today. Like little things like that build my book and my chapters of being able to help people really is why I do what I do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That is so great.
Yeah.
Well, in that work, what would you say would be 3 essential health habits that you think all people should have?
Great question. Proper nutrition, proper sleep, and proper hydration. Those are the 3 that have to be there. I mean, sure, there's supplements and I sell supplements, but I'm the first one to tell you that it's food first, and now how far we've come in nutritional and life science, right? We know now that if you don't get enough sleep, your hormones are off. Mm-hmm. We know now that if you don't eat the right nutrition, muscle's going to go away, fat's going to store. And with all of this peptide and supplement game and all of these things that are coming across your Facebook and these
so much.
Quick fixes of pills and powders and injections and all this stuff that's happening, it really still comes down to those 3 basic keys: proper nutrition, proper hydration, and proper sleep. That has to be in place for us to move forward. If you have a health and fitness goal that you want to get to, those 3 things have to be the core.
Okay, good. That's a good reminder, because I tell myself there's no reason for me to get any supplements if I'm not going to drink water.
Yeah, it's
That's good. I like that.
It's just
when you're building a house, or let's make a better example. When you're trying to get your car running right, we're not going to go buy a new stereo.
Right.
We're not going to go get new wheels and tires.
That's a good metaphor, right?
We're going to make sure it starts. We're going to make sure it has gas. You know what I mean?
Right.
So people get the problem with people today is they don't prioritize their supplements, or they don't prioritize what they're doing to get to their goal. They want to do the quick fix, easy, flashy stuff,
right.
but they don't want to do the hard work. And some of it's even not that hard.
Yeah.
Setting aside 6 to 7 hours to go to bed on time is not that difficult. Eating healthy is not that difficult, and doing those things. But the core to all of that, it really comes down to discipline.
Right.
You have to have the discipline to do those things. If you don't have the discipline and you haven't been taught those that key ingredient, you're really going to struggle. And I find a lot of people struggle in that category with discipline. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I never have ice cream and I don't eat pizza, and you know what I mean? It's like I work out and eat healthy so I can eat pizza when I want.
Yeah.
So I can have ice cream when I want. It's not that, here's the GNC guy telling me I can't have fun in my life. That's not it at all.
Right.
What I'm trying to say is, if you want to indulge in those things, you need to be doing a lot of other things right to be able to do that and kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Totally makes sense. And I think that's important for our fun grandma audience to know.
Yeah.
that those things are important. So one of the things that I guess probably at any age, but I think about it a little bit more now, is my energy level. I notice. And is there anything that you would suggest that I would do, people my age would do, to have more energy? Like, I hear what you're saying about sleep and nutrition and water. Is there, maybe there
Even
isn't.
for that discipline,
Yeah. Is there anything else that?
Well, here's what we know now. Let's fast forward. So here's what we know now. We know that our body deteriorates as we age. Our body does not want to put on muscle, right? Keeping as much lean muscle mass as you possibly can by ingesting protein has to be a key factor in the nutrition category.
Okay.
Getting sleep and water, obviously we discussed that, but it's not really how much water you drink, it's how hydrating the water is. So that's why I always recommend doing electrolytes. I cannot tell you how many seniors come in the store and or their kids come in and even say, yeah, my mom's lightheaded or she doesn't feel well. I give them a scoop of electrolytes in their water in the morning and it snaps them right back. Look at electrolytes as turning water on, right?
Okay.
The cell has to be attracted to the water to be able to become hydrated. And you know what? You don't even have to go out and buy electrolytes if you don't want to. Yeah, there's great flavors, sugar-free, all that stuff, which of course we have at GNC. But even if you can't get out there or can't get to my stores right now, put a little bit of salt in your water. That's another life hack, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, because salt is part of that electrolyte panel that will actually help that water absorb more efficiently.
Okay.
I'm not against caffeine, but we know more about caffeine now. We know now that we want to cycle caffeine. 2 days on, 1 day off. 2 days on, 1 day off.
What? I don't want to hear that.
I know, most people don't. I'm usually the bearer of bad news.
I am shocked by this news.
Yes. We know now that not only do you not want to drink caffeine every day, but take a couple days off a week because your receptors get so maxed out on it. And remember, caffeine, unfortunately, how great it is for performance and energy and everything, it really is fake energy is what I call it, right? It also does tend to dehydrate the body, especially the energy drinks, okay? Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is all the statistics show that not only do we ingest less water that we've talked about, but people seem to eat less food. All of a sudden, coffee becomes breakfast, a soup and sandwich for lunch, and I had leftovers or whatever for dinner. Okay. Another thing about coffee to remember is that we know now you do not want to touch coffee the first 45 minutes you wake up.
What?
Yes. Yep.
Phil, I feel okay.
Okay, full stop.
All
No.
right, let's
Let's
hear
wake
it.
up, get 16 to 20 ounces of water with electrolytes. Let your body balance out hormonally. There are hormonal changes that are happening in the morning, like cortisol, for example, which causes stress and weight gain and causes you to become tired.
Okay.
We want to give our body 45 minutes before we touch any caffeine first thing in the morning. Not only will your caffeine be more effective, it will last longer. So there's 2 life hacks right there that people can use right away.
Yes, too.
All right. I'm glad this is recorded because I'm not obviously taking notes. And these
Yeah.
are everything that
you're
you've
good.
said so far, I need.
I'm easy to
Every
find.
single thing.
Yeah. Okay.
This is really good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, the other thing that people our age or as we get older are concerned about is brain health.
Yes.
So, what do you have to say on that subject?
First and foremost, like a body in motion stays in motion, a brain in motion stays in motion.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
why I like word puzzles. I like TV, listening to podcasts, keeping the exercise of the brain happening just like your body is super important. Now, fast forward all these years, we have some great nootropics that can be taken that I take personally to stimulate brain function. And that means neural firing, memory, short-term, long-term. In fact, I'll call my dad out right now. My dad, we were having lunch the other day, and he was getting nervous about forgetting names. Okay.
That's not fun.
It's it's called the Dunbar theory. So you should look this up and I can explain it. But the Dunbar theory is basically there's 1,500 people that the average brain can remember. First name, last name, where they're from, what you did, high school, friends, family, that type of stuff. After 1,500, it starts to get a little foggy. It's supposed to. If you're on this planet for 50, 60, 70, 80
you're
years,
gonna
your
know.
brain is not supposed to be able to remember every single person that you met.
Yeah.
And so he was getting a little insecure about names he couldn't come up with. And I said, Dad, it's the Dunbar theory. You're only supposed to remember 1,500 people. And I know my dad remembers
yes,
way
your
more than
dad.
that. My dad can pick a name and know what the HVAC unit he put in your house and probably what year it was. You know what I
Wow,
mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And
just
so-
know so many people.
Yeah.
It's easy to get discouraged about that, but people need to understand that the brain has limits. But now we have supplements and peptides and some fun things that are happening that can prolong that from happening. Proper nutrition, proper hydration, proper sleep. Your body needs to reset. So I'll keep going back to those.
Okay.
Above all pills and powders and injections and peptides and all this stuff is happening. But exercising your brain, keeping engaged in other people and other things, donating time, going to church, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, you need to keep doing that because every time you do that, you're actually exercising the brain, and that's super important. The people that deteriorate the fastest are usually the ones that retire and then sit at home and watch TV all day. Right?
Right.
Because they're not exercising, they're not moving, they're not getting oxygen in the brain, they're not getting proper blood flow, they're probably staying up late watching TV, doing too much caffeine. It's so easy to get the ball going in the wrong direction. We want to keep the ball going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and those are all very doable things without investing any money.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That is good. So, has anybody brought to you like a funny trend that they think is like a health new trend? I mean, have you seen?
Debunk some things for us.
Christina.
We
Yeah.
need help.
Okay, so
Love
what's
this
what's
one. The
something?
one that first comes to my mind is the foot detox.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, really?
Put our feet in some sort of potion and all the toxins get sucked out of our feet and whatever. Couldn't be a bigger crock of crap. That one's pretty funny.
Okay, I've done that. The water turns black.
Yeah, but it has
But-
nothing to do with.
Okay, there's
it has
no poison
Nothing to
coming-
do with
okay.
the toxins that
All
are
right.
coming out.
Okay.
Of
Dang
that.
it.
Yeah.
There are so many. Apple cider vinegar gummies was a big one that I had to deal with a couple years ago.
So that's
Which-
nothing?
No, not what they say it is.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
for weight loss, and apple cider vinegar is amazing. But when you get it in a gummy and you produce it that way, you're not getting enough of the core ingredients that are in that to do something. So that
I
was
always
a
wondered
big
about
one.
that. They make everything into a gummy.
I know.
Is
and
that
it's-
probably on a rule? Probably not the best way to go.
It's a great question. In single ingredient items, I'll give you an example, B12.
Okay.
You can clinically dose a B12 gummy or a chew to make a difference.
Okay.
A gummy multivitamin,
Okay.
a gummy hair, skin, and nail. Some of those you got to be really, really careful with because what these companies are doing is they're spending all of their money on the advertising and then they're just fairy dusting the vitamins or minerals or whatever they say they're doing into the product. And so the product costs them $1.50 to make. They're selling it for $29.99,
Well, yeah.
and they're spending all of the money on the ads to get you to buy that product.
Okay.
And so many customers come in with what I call scam products, and that's why I don't even sell them. I mean, I could have made way more money if I didn't have a moral compass at this point, right? But there are some things, and that's why people trust me, is they'll say, listen, I know you saw the ad. I know what they said. I know they had a doctor on TV. I know all that stuff. But a lot of that stuff is completely just, it's fake. It's false. It's false information. And so separating that for people is something I really enjoy doing, actually. I tell my customers all the time, if you see something on TV, if you see something on Facebook, just call me. I will tell you if it's worth trying or not. And even if they're not buying it from me, that's part of I feel like that's still part of my job. Even though I'm not selling someone a product, the information that I've learned over the years is what I like to give back just as much as supplying someone that goes in their GNC bag. So.
Oh, that's why people do trust you. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and our listeners can know they can trust you.
Yeah.
Well, so superfoods.
Yes.
Teach us about those.
Okay. Superfoods, which have gotten a little blown out of proportion.
Okay.
So the company would like you to think that if you do a scoop of their superfood, that it's going to have all your vitamins and minerals and everything that you need. Superfoods are what's called phytonutrients. Phytonutrients are usually freeze-dried fruits and vegetables with all dehydrated. So all the sugar sucked out, all the calories are sucked out. I do a superfood powder, which I really enjoy. I sip on it in the afternoon as a natural energy drink, but it does not take the place of the real food. It does not take the place of your multivitamin, no matter what the companies say. You're just adding to what you're already taking. Look at it this way. We all have nutritional gaps, right? What we should be trying to do each day is fill those gaps. There is a place for superfoods, for sure. It's really difficult and very expensive to get all of your fruits and veggies.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And it could be a ton of sugar and calories as well, depending on how much fruit you're eating. Which, by the way, on that note, if you're doing fruit, never eat any fruit that doesn't end in berry. Okay, if it doesn't end in berry, don't eat it. I know.
Appleberry?
Yeah. It's good.
Even
It's
apples.
good.
Huh?
So,
Okay.
and we also know now that 1 cup of blueberries is the most effective fruit in that amount that you can possibly do. So I make sure and get 1 cup of blueberries frozen because they're picked at the proper time and all the nutrients are kind of frozen in place until you use them.
Okay.
So that's just a little side note. But the superfoods, they have a ton of great benefits, but they're often exaggerated and they often make you think you can clean out your vitamin cupboard and all you need is 1 scoop a day
That's
of
true.
AG1, which
Right.
is not true at all. And then they have this outrageous price, $100 for a month. It's crazy to me. Your green should cost $20, $30 a month, maybe 40 if you have a really good one that maybe has a mushroom blend or a digestive blend or something like that. And I, like I said, I like to use it in my water in the afternoon as an afternoon energy drink. So natural energy.
Right.
You
I
mentioned
like
protein earlier,
Yes.
and I wanted to jump in and ask, how much protein?
that. Right. How
Great
do you
question.
figure that out?
Here's an easy way to figure it out.
Okay.
For most people,
Okay.
it's 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight.
Okay.
That should be your goal every day.
Okay.
Now, obviously, if someone is obese or morbidly obese, we wouldn't want to have that many calories. We want to get them in a calorie deficiency, but we would want to keep protein as the main focus.
Okay.
Now, your protein foods, beef, chicken, turkey, fish, all of those things go toward it. I always recommend with my new clients to download any food journaling app. I tend to use and recommend MyFitnessPal. I feel like it's really easy to do. There's a free version of it.
Right.
And I have people log their food. It's so important to know what you're eating. Let me give you an example. I have a friend of mine who's also a customer, and he was really getting into, man, I'm eating healthy. Or, I said, are you getting enough protein? Oh, he waved me off. Oh, Bill, I'm killing it on the protein. I'm keeping the carbs low. I'm everything. I said, well, how about we do this? Let's keep a
I'm
food
just
journal for a day
curious.
because I just want to make sure because I don't want to brush over it as easy as you are. He sent me a screenshot of his food journal that day.
Okay.
3,000 calories, 480 grams of carbs, You know, why I ate Subway? I did,
480.
60 grams of protein. I mean, and he thought he was killing it.
That was a good day for him.
He thought he nailed it.
Okay.
It's
Right?
hard to get protein.
And he did not nail it.
Okay.
Right? So the lesson there is when you're journaling your food, let's go back to apple or banana. Your average apple or banana has roughly 28 to 35 grams of sugar. Yes, it's fructose. Yes, it digests differently. But the point being, it is still carbohydrates and sugar, so you would have to count it toward that. I'm not telling you never to eat a banana or an apple again, but you have to count that in. If you're a grandma out there and you want to have a piece of cake on your grandkid's birthday, you can have that piece of cake. I am not sitting here telling you can't do that. But you can't have a bowl of cereal in the morning, have an apple, have a sandwich for lunch, have soup, and plan on having pasta for dinner, and have the cake and expect to have more energy and be healthier and be better and be mentally focused.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Okay.
And you need to educate yourself. I can educate you. We can educate people, but you have to educate yourself on what that food has in it. And carbohydrates and sugars are in everything, and they sneak in ways you have no idea.
It's so true.
I'll give you an example. Ketchup.
Yeah,
Okay?
right.
I
That
love
is
ketchup.
shocking.
I use ketchup, but I make room for ketchup because it has sugar and carbohydrates in it. So when you journal your food, you're actually learning that a banana has 35 grams of sugar. You're learning that an apple has 35 grams of sugar. You're learning that the glass of orange juice you had in the morning. How many people get up and have a glass of orange juice?
Right.
A ton of seniors do that.
Yeah.
It's the number one thing you shouldn't be doing is having sugar first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So by journaling your food, you're teaching yourself and you're almost policing yourself in a way. So that way when you come back in and talk to me, we're having an educated, knowledgeable conversation on how to move forward and not make those same mistakes instead of just brushing me off or guessing. But to go back to your original question, 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight is a great place to start.
Okay.
Now with carbohydrates, when I start with a new client, especially if weight loss is involved, if that's one of the goals, I usually tell them we want to have a 1-to-1 carb to protein ratio. So we never want to eat more carbs than protein, right?
Okay.
Now
Yeah.
we want to make sure we're eating enough food. Most people find that on their weight loss journey, they actually ended up eating more food than they were before. Because again, remember, breakfast becomes a drive-through coffee stand, lunch becomes a soup and sandwich, something quick with the girls, and then dinner becomes whatever we find, to make. And so planning out this stuff, keeping your food journal, there's no stopping you.
Okay.
At least you'll have the education. Now, if you make the wrong choice, you make the wrong choice.
Right.
But at least you
Right.
at least know you're making the wrong
Yeah.
choice. Most people don't even know they're making the wrong choice.
Right.
Right.
We're not like your friend who thinks he's doing
Right.
so great when
100%.
actually, yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So on that food thing, as a fun grandma that I'm trying to be, what would be a good healthy?
You are.
She
you are.
is 100%.
What would be a healthy snack that my grandkids would enjoy?
Anything you can invent with there are so many ways you can utilize protein snacks now. One that's really popular, let's talk about ice cream. We talked about it before. I eat ice cream. I have a Ninja Creamy at home. We put protein powder in there, put the sweetener in there, and make protein ice cream. Kids love it. So most of the times they can't even tell the difference. And it's okay to
Do you
crumble
think
up.
I could fake Brad?
It'd be challenging, but I think you could do it. Okay. And you know what? It's okay to crumble up one Oreo cookie and dump it on there. That's
Right,
not a big
right.
deal.
It's-
One Oreo cookie is not going to throw you off your diet. Eating a third of the bag is.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's when I say making room for those types of things
Okay.
to make healthy food taste good, and you know it's going to taste good, and you have the confidence that it's going to is part of it. Now let's remember, the way you talk to yourself is also very important. I caught something you said a second ago. You said eating enough protein is hard.
Yes,
If
I
you
did say that.
Okay, so if you tell yourself eating enough
Right,
protein is
right.
hard, it's going to be hard. If you wake up and say, I'm going to get all my protein today,
do it.
piece of cake, right?
Right.
You start to change the narrative. Remember, your brain is remembering everything you say. Unfortunately, people are so influenced by songs and what they read and what they watch on TV that we're now thinking that way too, which then absorbs into yourself. So if you get up and say, this workout's going to be really hard, it's going to be really hard. If you say, I never get enough sleep. Well, then you're never going to get enough sleep. If you say I can't go to sleep, you're not going to go to sleep. So it's super important. The way we talk to ourselves is often the action that ends up happening. So you have to be super careful on how you talk to yourself every day. And that doesn't matter what age group you are, but it gets...
He's preaching the Bible right here.
Yeah.
He is.
But it does get more important as we get older, because maybe someone has been telling themselves, I can't sleep for 40 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
You hear it all the time.
Or I'm old, and that means a
I'm old.
slew of things.
Great example. I'm old, so I can't do this. And well, my age is keeping me from doing this. That is so not true.
Yeah.
It is just not the facts. Facts don't care about your feelings. We've all heard that. Right? So you have to separate those things and learn the way to talk to yourself. That's why getting up and doing your daily affirmations and all of these things that we've been taught and we don't need to bring religion into it, but it is a lot in the Christian lifestyle. It's why we sing positive songs when you go to church. It's why that positive interaction with that lifestyle is so empowering. But you don't have to go to church to do that. You don't have to be a Christian to do that. You can do that in any aspect of life, and whatever your political views are, it doesn't make any difference. How you talk to yourself, though, is super important.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah.
Well, and I wanted to say, I just as we've been talking, I can already feel like I can do this. I mean, you're just so empowering just in how you talk about it.
One of the first, so in my ebook, which is on my website, if you go to billyjeffrey.com, I have a free ebook. It's called the 7X Formula. I always tell people it's the 7 things I need you doing when I don't see you.
Perfect.
And one of them is talking to yourself properly. I have you repeat, I have endless amounts of energy. I have endless amounts of energy. I have endless amounts of energy 10 times. Tell me how you feel. You tell me how you feel after you say that, instead of I'm always so tired I can never get to sleep. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just starts to wear on you.
Yeah.
And so you will see the empowering changes that it will make for absolutely free just by the way you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
so good.
Yeah.
So good.
It is. And you know this stuff, Shelley. You're good at this stuff.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I needed to hear that.
But
I really
most
appreciate
people-
that.
I'm not
You don't notice what is just running in the background. Even.
totally.
The
Even-
lie that is there, you
Yes.
don't notice.
Yes.
You really
it
can be
becomes-
blind to the
yeah.
lie.
100%.
Absolutely.
And I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm telling you stuff that Tony Robbins has probably said, and Gary Brecka, like all these guys that are out there doing their thing, which is great. But we need to hear that
Yes.
over and over again.
Reminder.
It's no different than telling a family member, I love you, I care about you. It needs to be said over and over again, because that is what's being recorded in your brain.
Yeah.
And it will go from your brain and it will project itself out. And that's what's so exciting. And again, it's free.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and you just brought it up. What we put into our minds, what we're listening to is so important. So what are the podcasts that you're drawn to or you would recommend regarding health or...
Yeah. I mean, health and not, I love Joe Rogan's podcast because he's so naturally intrigued in other people. I can listen to a Joe Rogan podcast on genealogy, and I'm not even really into that, you know?
Right. But yeah,
And
it's
I mean,
true.
people looking at dinosaurs, it doesn't matter. Like, but he's asking the questions that I would ask.
Okay.
That's what always, those are the podcasts I like the most. Gary Brecka tends to blow the truth up a little bit, but brings up great topics. The Huberman podcast, he's got a life hack podcast that I'm really into right now because he's really on the cutting edge of new science and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just, I tend to be attracted to interviewers that have the same want for that knowledge from whoever they're talking to. It doesn't matter if maybe they're a professional pianist. I take an interest in that as well. It's something I didn't know, you know. But the people that tend to ask more questions than talk themselves are the ones that I tend to like the most because I learn more during that time.
So true.
I'm staring 50 years old in the face right now. I am more intrigued about learning as much as I possibly can no matter what the topic is, because I understood that I know a lot of stuff, but I mean, the stuff that I know is not even a speck on my finger, you know, and it doesn't even matter if it's making ice or whatever, whatever it may be. Those things have always intrigued me, and I'm always intrigued by other people's professions. So any of those podcasts that you find where it's almost like, God, I would ask that question. I would ask that question, you know?
You can tell they're really listening
Yeah,
and
they're
wanting, curious about
Yes.
somebody else. And I value you. And so,
100%. And they're not just there to hear them talk. They brought a guest on to be a guest and share their knowledge, not for you to sit there and talk the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so you're probably aware of this, but there are some of my friends, not that you're aware of my friends, but some of my friends say this when I say, well, you should go in and talk to Billy. And they're like,
yeah.
Right.
you know, I don't know. He's kind of like a celebrity. Won't I'll feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I just want to say to those people out there, because
Yes.
I've got my stuff and I'm going to have you look at it.
Okay.
Talking with you is not uncomfortable.
No.
Yeah. And so you're kind of you are a celebrity in
Absolutely,
our
100%.
area. And oh, by the way, I just want to say this. Thank you for bringing in Hobby Lobby.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
That's
not
Team
only
effort,
not
team effort,
only
but yeah.
a celebrity,
Yeah.
but a hero.
Yeah.
An absolute hero.
Yeah, but I want people to know that that it is comfortable to have you help. Yeah. And so I've got my stuff.
I have a really funny story.
Okay, go ahead.
I was out at a local watering hole it was probably 20 years ago, and a girl came up to me. She had a beer in her hand. She had a few drinks, and she was like, "You're Billy, right?" I said, "Yeah. What's up?" You know. She's like, "It's so weird. I can talk to you outside of the store, but I'm so nervous at coming in the store." And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's me that they're actually nervous about talking to. I think it's really about looking the situation in the face and knowing it's time to face it."
Okay.
I think that's 100%.
I think it's both.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I understand. I understand the aura around the other things that I've done in life and whatever. But a lot of people say, "Have you talked to Billy yet?" Well, no, I've never actually met him. I just heard about him.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Go talk to him right now.
Yeah.
Go introduce yourself and see what happens."
Yeah.
You know, because I honestly, I'm more generally interested in people, or as much as they are in me. You know, and I've always been that way.
Yeah.
And so once we break down that wall, though, which I'm glad you brought it up, because once we break down that wall and they understand, you know, I'm there to help them. You know how many people I've talked to haven't sold them anything? I'm like, you don't need to buy anything today. What you need to do is read my ebook, start journaling your food, and then come back in and let's go over it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, yeah.
So those little things like there, I think, break down that vision or that false narrative that they have about me.
Yeah.
But you know, and each day I win somebody over, you know.
I'm sure you do.
But it's
Because you're helpful.
Yeah,
100%.
right.
Because
Yeah.
you really are.
Yeah. And that's always been my lifelong goal, is to help you in any way I can. It's not just sell you stuff and hope you do good, see you later. That's the last thing I want somebody to say. And that's why that's not the narrative. My business has grown consistently, substantially every year for 30 years. The reason why that is people come in, they like the information they're getting, they like the way it's been delivered, and they like the product that they get. And so if that wasn't happening, then I would need to change something. And not that I'm not making changes, I'm adapting and changing. Customer service today is completely different than it was in 1998.
I bet.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't know everything, and I know that things are going to change, and being able to adapt to those changes is what I think I do best, and keeping people in priority. So I'm excited to see what you got
we
here.
gotta
Well,
check
I
this
have
out.
to say that I was just visiting with my dad
Okay.
before I came here. And I told him that you were going to be on the podcast. And he goes, my dad's 90.
Okay.
He's like,
90. Isn't
Billy-
that awesome?
Billy has kept me alive.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
There it is.
I don't
Team
know.
effort. Team effort. Team effort.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Pull them out.
Okay.
I am
So
so
this is
excited
like
for this.
everything out of your cupboard, or what?
Okay, I have a total question about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I love doing this. Let's remember, companies send me stuff all the time. Every once in a while, I have to clean out my own cupboard.
Yeah, I
You know what I
bet.
mean? But when I'm working with a new client or somebody I haven't worked with in a while, they know they have all this stuff in the cupboard. They don't know what half of it is. They don't know how to take it. I absolutely love doing this. I tell people, go home, bag your stuff, bring it up. I'm going to set it on this table and we're going to go over everything and I'll write down notes and whatever you need. So let's just jump right in. Okay. So we talked about the gummy multivitamins. Although easy and fun to take, these often are just fairy dusted.
Okay.
So there's not a I don't even need to look at it. There's not even a single ingredient in here that's what I would call clinically dosed.
Okay.
So meaning you can have vitamin C, but do you have enough of it to make a difference with the immune system? You can have calcium in there, but does it have enough to impact bone density? And that's really what people need to know. And where I think at GNC we separate ourselves from other people doing that is we try to carry things that are clinically dosed. And these, although fun, probably I wouldn't recommend them. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm shocked by that. I thought for sure he would go,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yes. Fish oil. Okay. Fish oil, first of all, should be in your top, which by the way, let's cover. Multivitamins should be in your top 5 priority supplements.
Okay.
So remember when we talked about getting your
Right.
car started, but we're going to buy a new stereo? So there are people that will skip the multivitamin and buy a peptide and think that they're going in the right direction, right? So your multivitamin should be in your top 5 priority supplements, although I'd recommend others.
Okay.
Fish oil, same thing, should be in your top 5 priority supplements. This fish oil, people tend to burp it up. We hear that a lot.
Yes.
And the Nature Made is not very strong per pill. So if you're not taking 3, maybe 4 of these a day, it's probably not doing much. Now, fish oil is great for joint pain and inflammation, brain function, anti-inflammatory. It's a fantastic product. I don't know where Nature Made gets their fish, which also sometimes matters as far as the mercury level and PCBs and toxins that can be in there. I'm not saying don't buy this. I'm just saying that there are better fish oils out there. You would be able to take less and gain more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm not wanting to take 4.
No.
Yeah, most people don't.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's an example of, remember when I told you that some things like B12, you can get a substantial amount that makes a difference, and this is in what's called a sublingual lozenge. That means you would put this under your tongue or on the side of your cheek, and it would absorb straight into the bloodstream. B12 is very fragile when it comes to its actual, its core, but there's 5,000 micrograms in there, which is what I recommend for people that are low in energy and want a little extra kick and don't want to just add more caffeine. So in this particular case, this product would be just fine. Okay. We sell this brand. I trust Natrol. They are third-party tested. I haven't been in their facility, but I do know a little bit about the brand. I've sold them for 30 years, and that would be a lozenge/gummy that is strong enough to actually do something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
One
Well,
win
there,
here.
well, okay, you're doing good.
Creatine. Okay,
Okay.
we talked about memory enhancement. Now, there are a lot of nootropics on the market that do a great job. Creatine is now known as a nootropic. A nootropic meaning it enhances your brain.
Okay.
Now, creatine is a fantastic product. I've been recommending it for 30 years. I took it before I got in this industry, and I still take 10 grams a day myself. Why do I do 10 grams? We know now that the muscle is very selfish when it comes to creatine. The first 5 grams is going to get gobbled up by the muscle. Anything over 5 grams, you have a better chance of that breaking the muscle-brain barrier, is what I call it, and going to the brain.
Okay.
This would increase mood enhancement, cognitive support, memory function. So creatine is a definite go. 2 scoops a day. Most industry standard on creatine is 5 grams per scoop. That's why I say that. This one has 5 grams per scoop. It's unflavored. You could put in anything. Orgain is they got in a little bit of trouble on their protein powder recently for having a high lead content. I haven't seen the third party testing this, but I would trust that they make a nice product. Okay. Yeah, but I would definitely do
10.
If you want brain function help.
I want brain function.
It would be 10 grams a day.
What about 15?
Yeah. I would recommend splitting your creatine up. Every once in a while when we do too much creatine monohydrate, it's in very few people, but it can sometimes upset the stomach.
Okay.
So it doesn't in me, but I like to do 5 grams in the morning in my morning shake post-workout, and I do 5 grams in my yogurt with my blueberries at night. You can stir it in there. It just disappears.
Stir it right into
I
yogurt.
stir it
That's a
right
great
into my
idea.
yogurt. It disappears. You don't even know it's there.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Good.
Okay, vitamin C. Now,
I
Here's-
see I have a GNC lid on.
oh yeah, you do. Yeah.
Okay.
So Nature Made was one of the brands that got busted. So I'm part of a group called consumerlabs.com. It's kind of like the Consumer Reports of the supplement industry.
Sure.
Okay.
Nature Made did not test out well on one of their vitamin C's, meaning, like, for example, I'm not saying it's exactly this batch, but it said it had 1,000 milligrams per pill and it had 833. Right.
Okay.
And that's the reassurance you get with GNC supplements. Vitamin C is fantastic. I recommend 2,000 to 4,000 milligrams a day. This is probably ascorbic acid, which isn't the best form, but definitely worth taking. And I would tell somebody, to finish this up, they could choose a GNC brand, or if they like this brand, you could move forward with it. It's just about taking enough vitamin C to make a difference.
So, but if your multivitamin has it, do you then double
Well,
up on
there's
it?
usually not enough in
Not
the
enough.
multivitamin.
So
There's
you-
usually between 1 and 300 milligrams in even a good dosed multivitamin. So usually if you want the antioxidant benefit and the cellular boost that you would get from vitamin C, you would need to purchase it separate and take more of it.
Okay.
Okay, here's a popular one, magnesium. Another top fiver, maybe top 6.
And I never
should
know what
definitely
to
be should definitely be in your supplement priority list. Now, here's where we need to check though. Okay. That's what I thought. Unfortunately, this is magnesium oxide. So there are roughly 13 forms of magnesium
Yeah,
that we know
it's so
of now.
confusing.
It is very confusing. We know that oxide is probably the worst.
Okay.
You're probably gaining less than 18% absorption percentage. So of the 500 milligrams you're getting, you're only getting 20 or 30 milligrams. And the reason why is the form that it's in. Now, magnesium oxide is often used for regularity, or as if somebody needs a stool softener,
Right.
because it sits in the stomach and doesn't digest and break down very well and doesn't absorb very well, that it usually causes loose stool. So the only time I would recommend this, and it's rare, would be if someone just can't go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But every other form of magnesium is better. You've got glycinate, citrate, you have a number of different magnesiums, even ones that help with brain health. But I would steer clear of oxide. And unfortunately, this is the one that most mass market brands and grocery store brands have.
Okay.
So,
All
yeah.
right. Okay. I'm
Yep.
going to change that up. Okay. Let's talk about this one.
Oh, yeah. Brain Gear. Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit biased
Yeah.
to this company because it's mine. Brain Gear is the nootropic that I was talking about. So Joe Rogan pushed a product called Alpha Brain, which is very, very popular. But if you know the formula, you will see on the back, if we had a bottle here, it would say proprietary blend. It's exactly what I talked about earlier in the podcast. They fairy dusted all of the ingredients in there, so you're not getting a clinical dose of these ingredients. You'll notice everything in my brand, which I have a very, very small brand. I have 5 products. I have a prostate formula, cholesterol, blood sugar, brain health, and then I also have an immune formula as well. I do no proprietary blends. Remember, a proprietary blend is grouping of 10 or 11 ingredients together and saying there's 500 milligrams of all these ingredients. That should be a red flag in most cases.
Okay.
You'll notice on my brand that I itemize every ingredient in there and tell you exactly how many milligrams you're getting per dose. The reason why I did that is I wanted to separate myself from the other brands, and other brands do this, by the way, not
Right,
the only
sure.
brand. But this is where you know your supplement company is being honest with you.
Okay.
Because let's take, for example, lion's mane, which is a very popular mushroom right now for memory and mental focus.
Yeah.
Right.
You need a minimum 1,000 milligrams for that to work. I put 1,000 milligrams
Yeah.
in there.
And I so appreciate that because I drank the mushroom coffee
Yeah.
to get that much. And that is not fun to drink.
Yeah. And theirs is a
So you
proprietary
didn't
blend
enjoy
as
that.
well.
I did not enjoy that. Okay, I want to ask you about this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Orgain. Okay. So, due to the popularity of the Netflix documentary, for 6 months, everybody switched to plant protein. I am
Right.
all for plant protein, but the reality of it is that most plant proteins in the ready to drinks, these are called RTDs, by the way, ready to drink. So you'll hear
Okay.
that, and you need to know what that means.
Okay.
Not only is the powder better, but the amino acid profile on a lot of plant proteins do not mimic what our muscle is made up of. Our muscle needs a high amount of what's called branch chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. That's why we drink whey protein for muscle growth.
Okay.
That's why we have collagen for hair, skin, and nails.
Okay.
And why we have plant protein occasionally or part of your diet just to increase the amount of protein. The amino acid profile is really what matters when it comes to protein. So whey protein is very high in those branch chain aminos, where collagen protein is high in the aminos that our hair, skin, and nail is made up of. That's why there's a place in the world for both of them.
All right.
I put a scoop of collagen in both my protein shakes during the day. It is clinically proven that collagen protein helps with hair, skin, and nails, tendons and ligaments, and our body gets depleted of collagen as we age. So it's important to have that. I don't recommend plant protein unless someone has a milk or dairy allergy.
Okay.
And there are plant proteins that have been branch chain amino infused. So for example, they've taken the plant protein and they've added a scoop of the branch chain aminos in there. So your muscle thinks it's whey protein, but it's actually a plant protein.
Okay.
Now, as far as RTDs, let's remember one thing here. When it comes to choosing nutrition, it's always food first, a powdered protein shake second, a ready-to-drink protein shake third, a protein bar fourth, and fast food fifth. So a lot of people didn't know that at all. And that's the problem right now with supplements. Everybody's eating bars and drinking ready-to-drinks. They're skipping the food, they're skipping their powdered protein shake, and they're eating fast food. Right? So as long as you have that knowledge now and you take yourself through those questions, whether you do it or not, it's fine. It's your world. It's you're doing your own thing, but at least you have the knowledge and the education to take yourself through those questions to know what you should be doing and should not be doing.
Okay.
Right.
So I just really want to encourage people and let them know that when you say you're okay with people coming in with their stuff,
Yes.
that you
that's-
really are. And
Yeah.
that you really will be super helpful.
Do not feel offended if it's not our GNC brand or something that I sell. And a lot of the times I tell people, you know what, go ahead and finish these off and we'll get a better one next time. I'm also come from the old school. I don't want to waste anything. Very rarely do I tell somebody they need to throw something away or do something.
Yeah.
We're going to finish this off, but next time we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Everybody's vitamin supplement cupboard is usually filled with a bunch of stuff they didn't even know they had.
Yeah.
Clean it all out, expired or not, whatever brand it is, I'll help you go through it, and I do that all day long, absolutely free.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really true. I experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is just, well, the fact that you're so people forward is just why we love having you here on the podcast. And what did you want to add?
Well, small town. I mean, we all, you know what I mean? We're all here to help each other in one way. There are things that you guys can help me with at some point and someday. Brad has obviously been a huge influence, which I've said. So giving back to something I can do there. Kevin Beeson and Eric Beeson, obviously, Darren too, all family. I mean, Eric is literally my brother from another mother.
Absolutely, he
people
is.
say that, but no, he's literally that, you know? And so the Beeson family and the Scharnhorst family are, I mean, we're the same family. So, you know, little things like that, obviously growing up in a small town and being able to give back what I can, you know, it fulfills me. But I'm also the same guy that, like, if I don't know the answer, I'll just tell you I don't know. But I'll go find out and text you or call you later with the answer. I usually know the people that formulate these items. I usually know the chemist that formulated it. And I usually know I always tell people, I love my sales rep, but I want to know the guy that formulates it and where it's bottled and all that stuff, because that way I can better answer people's questions. So,
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, this is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, something we like to say on the podcast is we make love our greatest aim. And I just feel like,
great.
Billy, you exonerate. I mean, you live it. You're doing that through your business and through your ways that you're helping so many people. And what a great way to honor Brad's legacy through you.
yeah.
I mean, you're just passing it on.
He's
so.
going to love that.
Yeah,
Right?
and I'm not just saying that. I
know.
tell everybody that. Brad knows that, and most people know that. I say that in interviews all over the world. You know, there's just certain people in life. You know, we all go through this life and we meet people, and some people come and go, and some people, you know, influence you in different ways. And without question, Brad Bramlett is in the top 5 most influential people that I've ever ran into. And I'm sure a lot of other people would say that as well.
100%.
And I can only hope that I can be one of those people for someone else. So
Well, I think that's for certain.
That's amazing.
So thank you so much.
thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This was great.
Thank you.